happy morning to all. Today is 30th January 2022, Martyr's Day. About 73 years ago, on this day, one of the most important people in the Indian history passed away. Earlier that evening, Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, described him as the light that has gone out of our lives. He was a man who dedicated his whole life to his nation. Without him, India wouldn't have been free from the clutches of Britishers. It is none other than the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, a man who left behind a legacy to inspire people and unify with brotherhood in arms. His inspirational words and philosophies attracted the people in an instant and motivated them to live their lives based on strong principles. Gandhi's memoirs have been appreciated as one of the most influential, encouraging, and heartening memories ever. Let us remember his great deeds that inspire us on this day of his 73rd anniversary of assassination.
Today is a day of loss of a man who dedicated his life for his nation. Let us see how far his journey has gone. A journey of discrimination, a journey of non-violence, a journey of satyagraha, and a journey of independence. October 2nd, 1869. Mohandas Gandhi is born in Porbandar in Western India. His father was a chief minister of city Porbandar and his mother is completely absorbed in religion. In 1882, Gandhi, only 13-year-old, marries Kasturba, who is also 13. Kasturba to participate in number of her husband's civil disobedience camp. In 1893, Gandhi takes a job with an Indian law firm in South Africa, where he quickly exposed to racial discrimination practiced there. He settles in Durban and begins to practice law. In 1894, he founded Natal Indian Congress to agitate Indian rights. Through the political organization, he infused the spirit of solidarity in heterogeneous Indian community. He fled the government, the legislature, and the press with a closely reasoned statement that Indian governance. Important newspapers such as Times of London, The Statesman, and The Englishman, Kolkata, begins to take notice of issues that Gandhi raises. In 1906, discriminatory law is passed in Transvaal region of South Africa, forcing all Indians to register with provincial government or else face the punishment. Under Gandhiji's leadership, Indian community take pledge to defy the law and suffer all the penalties resulting from its defiance. The practice became known as satyagraha, a technique for redressing wrong through inviting rather than inflicting suffering, for resisting adversaries without rancor and fighting them without violence. Gandhi is frequently jailed during these ensuing years. Thousands of other Indians were present, flogged or shot. The law is eventually abolished, though the racial discrimination in the country continues. Gandhiji returned to India in 1950.
Moving on, we have from 1919 to 1924. In 1919, Mahatma Gandhi became the leader of INC, aka Indian National Congress Party. He campaigned for self-rule or Swaraj. He worked to reconcile all religions and classes, especially Hindus and Muslims. Next, in 1920, Mahatma Gandhi led a non-cooperation movement against British, urging Indians to spin their own cotton and to boycott British goods, court and government. These events led to his imprisonment from 1922 to 1924. 1930 to 1931, Gandhi led thousands of Indians to a 240-mile or 385-kilometer march to a sea to collect their own salt. This protest was against the British tax on salt and resulted in more than 60,000 people being arrested. In 1931, the Viceroy of British and Gandhi signed an agreement which was later known as Gandhi-Irvin Pact and which included the giving up of Satyagraha campaign and the release of imprisoned Indians. Next we have 1932. Under a new Viceroy, Gandhi was imprisoned again. While in prison, he forced to protest against the British decision to segregate the so-called untouchables. The fast caused an emotional upheaval in the country and the British agreed to change the policy.
In 1934, Gandhiji, who had resigned as leader and member of Indian National Congress, becomes politically active again early in World War II, demanding immediate independence as Indians' prize for aiding Britain in the war. He is imprisoned again from 1942 to 1944. In 1947, August 15, India formally achieves independence from British rule. However, the partition of the subcontinent into India and Pakistan is a great disappointment to Gandhi, who has long worked for Hindu-Muslim unity. Rioting between Muslims and Hindus over the partition breaks out in many areas. Again, Gandhi turns to non-violence, fasting until Delhi rioters pledge peace. In 1948, January 30, while on his way to prayer in Delhi, Gandhi is killed by a young Hindu fanatic who has been angered by Gandhi's efforts to reconcile Hindus and Muslims. This was the journey of man of future vision.
Now, let us see some of the major achievements of the great Mahatma. He fought against racial discrimination in South Africa. His Satyagraha campaign in South Africa led to the 1914 Indian Relief Act. Mahatma Gandhi won his first battle of civil disobedience in India at Champaran. He successfully led a non-violent tax revolt in Kheda. He led popular non-cooperation movement in early 1920s. Mahatma Gandhi led the famous Salt March to Dundee. He launched the Quit India movement in 1942, demanding the end of the British rule. Mahatma Gandhi was the leading figure responsible for India achieving independence. He fought against social evils in the society like untouchability. Lastly, Gandhi was runner-up to Einstein in Times Person of the Century. A day is not enough to speak about Mahatma Gandhi's values and deeds. But we, as the future of the country, can honor him by living our life with his principles of truth, peace and non-violence and lead our country to an incredible nation. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.